Welcome to NIBM Global webinar on the topic Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a term which is familiar to you. Most of us, you have heard about the term Bitcoin, but we are not familiar with what is Bitcoin or why it is used, there was a big controversy regarding Bitcoin concept during the launch of Bitcoin. So after that there was a boom regarding Bitcoin, it was globally accepted, and then there was a reduction, or then it was a major cramp in the particular term Bitcoin, a major setback for the entire Bitcoin concept. So still it is existing. So what is Bitcoin? Most of us don't know what is Bitcoin is. So first of all, before going to the technology, or before entering into the definition of Bitcoin, I will say what is basically some of the terms related with Bitcoin. It is a global currency. First of all, you should understand that Bitcoin is a global currency. It is very different from flat currencies. Unlike our physical currencies or currency notes or coins, it is different. The concept of Bitcoin is different. Then it was formed, or the concept of Bitcoin was coined during the year of 2009, and it was not issued by any specific entity. There is no specific entity which is being launched, which has got authority over Bitcoin. It is a peer-to-peer decentralized kind of concept, Bitcoin. Then that entire trading is done over the internet, only with the help of internet. Otherwise the Bitcoin transaction cannot be taken place. Then protocol is open source. There is no closed source for the transaction. The transaction of the Bitcoin is entirely open source form. Then it is somewhat anonymous regarding the transaction process, etc. Then it is protected by strong encryption. The encryption means cryptocurrency. The concept called is cryptocurrency encryption. So it is encrypted. It is transacted, or it is dealt from person to person by the form of cryptocurrency. The term is called as cryptocurrency actually. Then people who transmit transactions, they are called miners. So if Bitcoin transaction is taken place between you and me, we both are miners. The term miners is used. Like we say customers or consumers typically in marketing, when two transactions are when a transaction is taking place, we say buyer and the seller. Instead, here we are using the single term miners. Marketing, we tell the term about the consumers, the customers, or the buyer and the seller. Likewise, in the marketing, we call it as buyers and the sellers. But in the Bitcoin concept, we tell as miners. You and me, when the transaction is taking place, we are called, or both the parties are called as miners. So next, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is actually a measurement. It is not completely, we cannot say that it is legally accepted, or we cannot say that it is completely illegal. It is a term which is accepted, but it is not legally it is not accepted in a country as a currency transaction. But it is not banned in country. So we cannot say it is legal or illegal. That is a part. Then it is maybe a change for money transaction, rather than money transaction or currency, whatever banking transaction. It is another substitute for money transaction. That is what all about this introduction about the Bitcoin concept. Then what is the basic mechanism? The transactions are published to the Bitcoin P2P, peer-to-peer network. The transaction is being transactions are being done. Then the miners or the commuters, both the parties, complete to solve the proof of work problem on an average every 10 minutes. The winning miner publishes a summary of recent transaction in a block. The miners are rewarded with new coins for having published a valid block. Blocks are linked to previous blocks, creating a blockchain. So starting from one point to another point, the entire chain, the chain is being created. So when we are talking about the concept of Bitcoin, say for example, I will tell in terms of example. I am going to a shop. Okay, I am going to a shop and I want to purchase an item for which I don't have any money with me or card with me. So I just need a mobile phone with a net connection, the other party from the seller also should have a mobile phone and net connection. Then Bitcoin, I should have the Bitcoin concept or installed with me, so that I have some Bitcoins with me, I have the encrypted data with me. So I am sending, it is equivalent amount. Say if I am having 10 rupees, just for example I am telling, if I am having 10 rupees, I am transacting say 10 Bitcoins, I am transacting 10 Bitcoins which is with me. I have a bulk of Bitcoins. Say it may be 1 lakh Bitcoins or 2 lakh Bitcoins. From that Bitcoins, I am transacting 10 out of that particular amount of Bitcoin to the seller of that particular commodity. So the seller also has to have this technology. Then after giving those data, the 10 Bitcoins, at the end, at the other part, that party, the seller should decrypt my data. That is why it is called as a cryptocurrency. Why it is called as cryptocurrency? It is called as cryptocurrency. Why? Because it is not like physical money in which I am just transacting from my purse to another person. It is like transacting a data and encrypting a data and giving to the other party, and the other party has to decrypt that particular data from me. That is the part he has to do. So security point of view, why it is secured means, it is secured because I am transacting an encrypted data and the other party is decrypting the data using a private key which is shared between the miners. That is, if a party, the particular transaction, the parties who is involved in the particular transaction, the entire thing is private key is shared between them. So the transaction party only knows about that particular key or security key regarding the Bitcoin. So I am encrypting the data and giving to them, and the other party is decrypting using the private key which is being shared for that particular transaction. So security part, it is taken care of. But what is not taken care of is who will take responsibility in this kind of transactions. If at all any issues occur between the parties or a large transaction is being made, who will monitor the transaction? That is a big question, because we all know our usual monetary transactions are done with the help of RBI, Reserve Bank of India. They have the authority, they monitor the transaction. We all know after demonetization what is being done, every transaction is being monitored, and the transactions are done online, it is also being monitored. One account to account transaction is also being monitored. It has to be sourced exactly what amount. So there is a restriction and there is a monitoring authority over it. But in the Bitcoin concept, it is somewhat different. There is no centralized monitoring authority in order to supervise on the transactions. So that is a limitation. So who will monitor that? If it is going viral, the Bitcoin concept is going viral and it is being transacted from one point to another, the value of the Bitcoin will also change. For example, now currently the Bitcoin has more than 1 rupee. For example, it has a 20 rupees or 38 rupees of value for 1 Bitcoin. In a shop, if I am going and if I am purchasing a product for 38 rupees, I have to give only 1 Bitcoin, because 1 Bitcoin is equivalent to 38 rupees. The value will change, of course will change according to the number of users, number of involvers. For example, now in India there are 1 million Bitcoin transaction taking place and the current value is 38 rupees for 1 Bitcoin. So when it is increased from 1 million, it increases to 2 million, 3 million, and if it reaches 15 million, of course the value of Bitcoin will also decrease. It won't increase. That is the limitation of Bitcoin concept. It will decrease in the sense 38 will become 25 or 10, or even it will reach 5 or 6 according to the number of increase in the number of users of Bitcoin. That is also an issue with this Bitcoin concept. So whenever we can't predict even the dollar rate, the currency exchange rate between dollar and Indian rupee, it is more or less stable. But if you are comparing it with Bitcoin, it is not at all stable. Or gold price, we are comparing with gold price, it is not at all stable. Gold price is stable, but if you are comparing with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not stable. That is another issue. It may change to 5 rupees today, and it may increase up to it depends entirely on the number of transactions which is being done. If the number of transactions are above, it will decrease. If the number of transactions are below, it will increase. So that is the unstable position of Bitcoin concept. That is why recently the Bitcoin concept or Bitcoin had a setback globally. That is another risk involved in Bitcoin. Then then another limitation is that the developers of Bitcoin, there is no it remains anonymous, or there is no authority over which the developers or their launching of Bitcoins or the development of Bitcoins is taking place. It is just just like, say, anonymous transactions or anonymous developers are there. There is no centralized authority who is being developed. That is the another limitation of Bitcoin. So when we are talking about Bitcoin concept, it is in one point of view it is good. Why? Because there is no need for physical money with me. It is a concept of transaction of a value, virtual value, from one point to another. But if we are incorporating all the limitation, and if we are overcoming all the limitations, having centralized monitoring, we can of course implement Bitcoin, accommodating certain rules and regulations. This is the basic concept of Bitcoin. Thank you.